love this congregation, this building. I remember worshiping here when this was still under construction without a roof in 1970 or so. I was married here. Married a lot of my friends here. 20 years ago, I was asked by Phyllis Tanner to speak here about what I was doing because it was pretty controversial. I was on the edge. I had kind of abandoned my uptown law office to sell hemp. I was trying to create an industry in industrial hemp. And there weren't very many of us out there. There was no industry. It had been banned for 75 years. There wasn't very much about it in any library or archives. It had all been kind of wiped out as being the most taboo subject ever. So we set out to make it popular. And so this is us at the Ohio Farm Bureau's Farm Day up there, trying to sell hemp to farmers. They had the most interest in it. I don't think I have to explain 20 years later, hemp is the cousin of marijuana. It's the non-psychoactive varieties. I'll explain more of that as we go. I'm here to kind of talk. This was our catalog 20 years ago. Some of our shots, if you go back. Some of our shots, a couple local girls. We were trying to, there wasn't anything hemp. We started off making paper and rope and twine, and we bring it from overseas. We started making clothing and cloth, and I had a big hit with hemp seed oil, and then making the hemp oil, the byproduct was really inexpensive. We ended up making beer, and that got famous until it got an Air Force One, and then it got kicked off the whole planet. And so all of a sudden we had a time where we had to fight the DEA to make hemp even legal here. But I wanted to show you what's going on in Europe, where they don't have the handcuffs on them. But there, they have the best farm machinery and the best farmers farming industrial hemp for a whole range of uses. This is just some photos to show you how advanced it is. We're not talking small agriculture. These are big machines and real farming is doing this. This machine is cool. It loads 4 of these big bales at once. It just scampers around the field like it's on fire, picking up these bales and throwing them on the truck. And you can load the truck in a couple, 3 minutes. This is the factory where these bales go through, and they're broken up and to their various parts. This is the woody part, the center of the herd, that originally was being used for horse bedding. It was the kind of waste product, but now it's turned into a very valuable building material. And you know, machinery for processing it, they make a lot of it. The better part of the fiber, it used to go to Turkey for cigarette papers, but now they have high-end parts. This is my friend Ben Bronkers in the Netherlands, standing in front of a pile of fibers that will join to Mercedes-Benz. See, in Europe, they have a problem worse than we do with the environment. They've taken measures that we're afraid to. And cars, for instance, everything you make in Europe needs to be recycled. And this fiberglass that we put in cars is not recyclable. They had to come up with a biological solution, and hemp turned out to be the right fiber to use. So matting is made like this, and it becomes the solid bending panels in a car that you can see on the right. This is the interior door panel of the car. But this is pressed with polypropylene fibers. So the hemp fiber and polypropylene fibers can be heat formed, like they were doing here at TS Trim. That's the doormat there. And this is it with the finish on it. And these are all the parts in a Mercedes that are made out of hemp. This is Henry Ford. See, this isn't a new idea. This is Henry Ford in 1943. He built a hemp car when metal was short because of the war. And here he is hitting it with an axe, showing that it's stronger than steel and much lighter. But now we got the Lotus Eco Eclipse and several other cars, and now an airplane that are being made with hemp fibers. This is all in 20 years. This is building panels that are very strong, made with the hemp panel in between, and then they work with fiber board to make the surface. And it's become a huge industry over there in Europe. In a matter of no time, we can do that here. building material. This is the herb being used as a building material in a variety of buildings. This is not, this is the high-tech building here because it's much more heat efficient and everything. It's being used as a fill in floors. That's not what I really want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you today about what I'm finding most interesting about this journey I've been on. And that's development of marijuana, cannabis into medicine. It's not where I started, but I ended up here representing an American investor investing in a European company trying to breed medical cannabis in 1990. And through 25 years of hard work, that's almost to the point where we can get this on the American market. It's been a huge uphill struggle, and there's 23 countries that are accepting this product that is called Sativex as medicine. Getting it out in the U.S. has just been pulling teeth for 20 years, trying to get it in at all for clinical trials, trying to get somebody in Washington to sign on the dotted line on this thing. It's been really hard. And all the way along, I keep hearing people say that marijuana has never been considered a medicine in the United States. And I know that's wrong because I've seen evidence of it. So I set out to collect the evidence. So the rest of these photos are out of my collection. This is a new project we're doing. These bottles that I've collected are too fragile to move. So with the help of David Hooker, if you know Mo's Tees, that's her husband. He's a professor at Ohio State University. He's come down and helped us take these high-resolution photographs of these things. And as I leave here, I'm on my way to Seattle today. We're doing our first installation of them Wednesday night as our opening at a new dispensary right across from all the big stadiums in Seattle. So it's going to be a big deal. We're working our way toward a museum of these things. I've been collecting crazily for 20 years. But this started off 150 years ago, 1830s. These bottles are hemp seeds and hemp seed oil were common American products based on European hemp. And over a period of time, cannabis turned into cannabis sativa and cannabis indica. The ships coming back from Asia were bringing hashish and Asian varieties of cannabis, which our physicians recognized as being very distinct from the European varieties that we had here in America in the early days. And this caused a sensation about 1860, 1870, where the apothecaries of the time had to carry each. The physicians of the day understood the difference between each. And so in my collecting, I've collected 37 different sets of jars that have both the cannabis indica and the cannabis sativa. Here's another set. Here's another one. This one always gets a laugh. I have several jars. Cannabis semen is actually a German jar, and it's got seeds. But these were jars, in the midst of this curiosity, the apothecary was always an assemblage of jars, and the jars were the high-tech display of the day. The jars were very expensive and rare. Glass was not common like it is today. We have the windows and all that. So this was the inverted apothecary jar that was invented so people could really see the pot, keep it on the counter in a sanitary way and people could see it. And I've got 3 sets of apothecaries, inverted apothecaries, where they were showing off the difference between sativas and indicas 100 years ago. Now, these days, people are always talking sativas and indicas, but what they're talking about is the total change from what they were talking about 100 years ago. What they were talking about 100 years ago was that the sativas were what they had from Europe, and the indicas are what they have from India. And what they have from Europe produced a drug called CBD, what they have from India produced a drug called THC. And THC is the agonist at the cannabinoid receptor, something we've discovered only in the last 25 years. And the CBD is the antagonist. So one is the key that fits the lock, the other is the key that fits the lock and doesn't turn the key and keeps the real key to fit in the lock. And so 100 years ago, these physicians understood the difference between these two things and how they worked and had indications that match what we now know and are using in California and the West Coast commonly to treat diseases. These guys knew 100 years ago, but it was all suppressed. And we're only figuring this out because of a few particular collectors, mostly pharmacists and physicians, who kept their cabinets of curiosities and didn't turn them in during the 30s and 40s and 50s when this stuff was enough to get you 25 years in jail. And now they introduced, as soon as they put indica over, they started to try to cross it, and that was a big mistake because they didn't have the tools to uncross them. Put the two cheese in the bottle, you couldn't get them apart. And so cannabis in the early part of the 20th century became known as an unreliable medicine because they didn't have the GCs to read the chemicals in the plant. They were afraid to try it. They tried to use dogs as their assay, which didn't work very well. Yeah, I should have a show for this. In 1906, Eli Lilly and Park Davis came together and put up a program to try to fix the problem, try to create an American-bred cannabis that was as strong as the cannabis indica. And they didn't understand the genetics and they didn't have the tools, but they were using dogs and they came up with cannabis Americana. So I have several sets of jars that talk about cannabis Americana. And then hashish. Hashish was brought over as early as the 1840s. It was very popular in the 1860s and 1870s. And it came from Turkey and Persia and Egypt and India and all over. This here is the full compounding pharmacy of probably 1910, where they had cannabis sativa, indica, and Americana. They had the seeds, they had the oil, they had the tincture, they had the syrup, they had the extract, and they had hashish. And they each had their own reasons for this. They didn't understand it chemically then why these are all different. We do now. And scientists have these great tools for exploring the cannabinoid system, but it turns out to be the reset button of our neurology. All these nerves turn on, and you have the receptor neurons, getting all these receptors and causing all these things, but nothing tells the transmitting neurons to stop except the cannabinoid system. It goes backwards, so you're actually getting the receptor neuron to tell the neuron that's transmitting to it, whoa, stop. And this is why this medicine turns out to be good for so many different conditions. So I've been involved in the development of these diseases, or the development of these medicines for 25 years, and you're going to see a revolution in medicine, not just one company, but the whole way that we treat the body, because the cannabinoid receptor system is tied in with the way we eat, the way we sleep, the way we feel. Many of the diseases that people are suffering from today are now being termed cannabinoid deficiency diseases. The internal cannabinoids that we have, and we know them now, we have internal cannabinoids, are not enough to, and so they can be supplemented by phytocannabinoids, plant-based cannabinoids. And there's going to be a revolution in medicine. These are all patent medicines from the turn of the century, before the 1906 Drug Act. And then these are medicines after the 1906 Drug Act. I wish I could blow that up. We were looking at this the other day and we realized there's 4 Ohio companies, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus, Ohio, represented in this little circle. You got Michigan and Indiana. This area was the center of the companies that were trying to push herbal remedies, herbal medicines, and they were run over by the Rockefeller Foundation and several large companies that were trying to push single compounds on us. And we lost a lot in that battle. And I hope that the next 20 years is enough that this turns around and we are able to use these things in our older age. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the difference between I didn't understand the difference in the two compounds you said in sativa and
The European varieties were rich in a drug called CBD, and the Indian varieties were rich in a drug called THC. And they're just two different drugs that are very similar, but they affect us very differently. And the THC is active, more active at the receptor. CBD actually blocks the receptor. And so the same plant, bred two different ways, is able to actually tune our neurology in different directions. And then the Americana ends up being the cross of the two. It's heterozygous. It's got mixed genes, and it produces both CBD and THC, which is very similar to this drug I'm talking about, Sativex, which is about to hit the market for MS and spasticity disorders and neurological pain, if we can get the FDA to get out of the way.
Do you have an opinion about that constitutional amendment?
Yeah, I have a really strong opinion about what's going on in Ohio. I find it extremely discouraging. We were running a campaign to try to get medical marijuana on the ballot in 2014. It was sabotaged by a group called the Strategy Network and others who came in and sent infiltrators in and kind of took over our campaign and took our momentum and our contributors and created this Responsible Ohio campaign, which I find extremely irresponsible. I'm trying to free the plant. These people are trying to make it really, really expensive. And I think it's just a greedy monopoly ploy, and we should not put things that onerous into the Constitution. So you're going to see me in the next 2 months campaigning against campaigning against marijuana in Ohio. And I'm hoping that every major editorial paper in Ohio gets it right.
David Graber. I've been doing antiques since I was 9 years old. I'm now 75.
Whoa!
Yeah, look at the back of it. Oh, good. It's on a stretcher. This is what they call a fire gilt frame. It's a nice piece of ladies' needlework. Ladies did this sort of thing in Victorian times when they were going to adulthood. This is a very nice one. What is it you'd like to know about it?
I presume it's a family piece. What could I do to restore the frame?
In Columbus, I could tell you a number of places to take it, but any large framing company can restore frames. You could probably do with taking it out there and cleaning it up.
I've never seen deer with this kind of antlerage.
No, neither have I.
I don't get it.
It was fanciful. As to its value, probably $300-400. Actually, the frame isn't that bad. The frame shows its age, but it's not terrible.
Okay, thanks.
I would take it, if you want a little better, take it to Hackman Frames. They make it look like new. Then you have to get the piece cleaned.
Oh.
I would have it reframed. I would have a little spacer put in, and I would have an acid-free back put on it.
The glass touches the needlework.
I bought a 29 Franklin.
A what?
I bought a 29 Franklin.
Oh, did you?
I bought a 2012 Nissan Leaf.
This is silver-plated tea service.
Sorry I didn't get around to polishing it.
Don't worry about it. It's Reed & Barton, which is a major swivel plate manufacturer to this day.
In England?
No, in this country. It's probably 1915. And antique silver plate, because of the maintenance, is just not bringing a whole lot of money.
I've never served tea with it.
I don't think I would if I were you. It looks like it's German silver under the silver plate, and they did that so when the silver plate started to wear, it would still look silver. How many pieces do you have in the set?
A large pot, creamer, sugar. I'm not sure if there's a coffee pot, or is this the hot water? This is the hot water pot, or the teapot?
This is the teapot. The whole service probably has a value under $100 because of its condition.
What went in here to keep it?
That's an alcohol burner to keep it warm. You would fill that with there would have been a wick in here, and they would have filled this with alcohol, and it would keep the beverage warm.
I think it had a red cloth at the bottom once.
Well, this is cast iron. And its original purpose evades me.
Well, it works as a doorstop.
Well, that may very well have been what it was intended for, too.
It could be from Japan because
No,
you
it's
lived
not,
in...
it's not from Japan.
Oh.
It's American.
Okay.
It's cast iron. It's probably around the turn of the century. Nice little kitty. Value, under $100. These are what they call trading cards. Stores would give these out, have trading cards, and they give them to children. Children made scrapbooks. That's what all of these are. The unfortunate thing is they've been glued in. They all have advertising on the back. They're mostly German lithograph. These are countries of the world. See the flags? They were in series. Eastman's Melrose Express.
That was a family business, my grandfather.
And he's showing the World's Fair at that time. Looks like the 1893, maybe.
Melrose, Massachusetts was Eastman Moving Company.
These are wonderful. This is Taylor's pre-made pants. And here we go. Gale Borden's evaporated milk. Still on the shelves today. Cocoa, whole album for the most part is trading cards. It's probably $75.
How fun.
And it is fun.
They're beautiful though, aren't they?
Yeah, if they hadn't been pasted in, they'd be about $1 a piece or more.
Just fun to know.
It would, if they didn't have the pictures with something in it to know the advertising on the back and what it would have been.
Unfortunately, they normally glue those things in with flour and water paste.
Yeah.
Which is impossible to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. Very neat.
Super glue.
job, Julia. She's a pro breaker. Oh my God, we're so high up. One more bite. Alright guys, everyone will turn and face the tree. And if, Sam, if you can go to the other side.
Was feeling low down, dirty and mean, 'cause I'd been working deep inside the big machine. Tried to find some honest answers in the television box, but nobody there would listen. They just talk, 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 until one night, quite by accident, I found, while remotely flipping channels all around, it was my friend from down the street, and he was sitting on a couch. He was playing his guitar, and he was letting it all hang out. And he sang, "You can do it too, you can do what I'm doing, you can put your message on community TV. Get yourself some public access, you won't hardly have to practice. Just believe in what you're saying and your creativity." Now with all the foolishness that's going down today, there's lots of things that I've been meaning to say. There's only so long you can hold it in before you pop your cork. But We can't all be David Letterman and broadcast from New York. And so I went to see my guitar playing neighbor. And I said, what is this public access where you labor? He said, here, you take this camera out and document your views. Give us footage when you're ready. You're on opposite news. And then he sang, you can do it too. You can do what I'm doing. You can put your message on community TV. Get yourself some public access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just have faith in what you're saying and your creativity. Oh well, I went and shot 3 pussycats, 2 paper boys, 1 mailman, and a woman walking to the park with her children and back. An older couple strolling and a pack of rowdy boys. Then I mixed it all together with some slides and happy noise. Now not everyone has cable, I know. So not everyone can see my picture show. But who knows, there might be one sad person all alone somewhere, out there flipping through the channels, wondering if nobody cares. And perhaps they accidentally found me, and just maybe heard me singing on TV. And then say, I don't have to focus on the networks anymore. I'll go get some public access just to even up the score. Because you can do it too. You can do what I'm doing. You can put your message on community TV. Get yourself some public access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just believe in what you're saying and your creativity. I mean to say, you can do it too. You can do what we're doing. You can put your message on community. Get yourself some public access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just have faith in what you're saying and your creativity. Oh, get yourself some public access. You won't hardly have to practice. Just believe in what you're saying and you are creativity.
Everybody got so weak.